welcome back. I am super excited to get naked today with STACEY SARGISON. Entrepreneur Magazine recognized STACEY as the #1 instant transformation success coach and confidant for ultra high net worth individuals. STACEY has worked with Oscar award-winning actors, Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1, New York Times best-selling authors, Grammy Award musicians, and businesses with $10 billion plus in sales, in addition to world record holders and entrepreneurs and other high-achieving visionaries. STACEY, girl.
Thank you. Gosh, when you say it out loud, it's like, yeah, I fucking do.
Right? Okay, so my first question for you is, when did you know? When did you realize that you're magical?
I would say I first started getting an inkling of, I wouldn't say magical. The first word was outcast, weird, not quite getting the picture. But it wasn't. I used to be confused more than, oh, I'm so magical, I'm such a fucking enigma. It was more I'm different, most definitely. And I don't know who else who's listening to this can relate to that. And then I would say probably about a year or so ago, I think we're in the same circles. And I realized, wow, when I put my mind to it, I do it and it happens. And there was this whole instant manifestation and things like that, and transformation words were coming out. And I would say it was the end of last year when I walked away from someone that I loved dearly, but it was just not right. That I was like, I really am magical because I can do hard shit and land with my bum in butter, as the saying goes in England. And I really realized there's something different. It's not just the work, it's who I am as a person. People just think, how the hell could you do that? I was like, I don't know, I just do. Like it's innate in me to not settle in that way. Once I know, I do better. But I can't live with myself otherwise. So if that constitutes as magical, then so be it.
Okay, so let's not use the word magical if that's not how you would describe it. So how might you describe what is, what's occurring for you when you do know things happen, right? Like you when you're in that, I'm using my words for the time being, but I want you to translate and use your own. When you are in the knowing, and then stuff appears or coalesces, comes together, or manifests, if that's another word we like, right? What do you suspect is happening there? And please do use your language, because I'm here to hear what you feel and see this to be.
It is, and it's such a great question. And for me, it's really, it's alchemy, for another phrase. People in my presence shift instantaneously, like the perspective shifts, what they think they can and cannot do. Like it really transcends. So I can do it without even saying a word, and I feel it within my body. It's a visceral response for me, but also for the person that's in my presence. It usually starts with, I don't know, it's almost like a remembering. So the magic that you speak of is a remembrance of, I feel like I've known this woman before. I don't know why, but there's something captivating about me. This isn't ego. This is what they're feeling. It's familiarity. And then I start saying things, and it's all of a sudden they're shifting and just being like, actually, hang on a minute. It's like an amalgamation of different quantum realities, and it's like this transcendence. I was this person when I started speaking to you, STACEY, but now all of a sudden you've opened up my mind and my world, my frame of reference to levels and things that I didn't even think was possible. So it can be very brief, like in a coffee queue, like every day when I go for my run and a coffee, or it can be on an intentional one-on-one session. That's the magic. Is a real, everyone talks about quantum mechanics and things like that. People in my presence feel it. They're like, oh, wow, I've got confirmation chills as I say that. Like that's what happens. Like,
so I get the same thing. Full body chills. I'm like, oh, I know, that means we're on it. We just touched it, whatever it is, right?
It's the frequency of truth, and that is a euphoric feeling for people in special times. And I know that's why I'm here, to say, let's get you out of this matrix. Like, let's remember who
Mm-hmm.
you are. Just by meeting me, you'll remember who you are. So did that
Mm.
answer your question?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I recognize you probably, just looking on your website and stuff and watching your social shares, I haven't really seen you talk about being a metaphysician. I know I use that language, but yes, quantum physics is another thing that's at play. So I'd like to hear how your interpretation of, because I think you are a metaphysician, and it may not be, again, the words that you use, but I would love to hear your take on that as a metaphysician who, um, understands, maybe not from, maybe not from like doing the research in the library, but understands quantum mechanics and sort of plays in that field. So what's your take on that? Metaphysics, quantum mechanics is just sort of a natural way of being.
Well, what you're calling me is so interesting. It's so peculiar. I swear I'm in different realities because I've never heard of that word before. And a lot of people say to me, Stacey, but that's what you do. And they say, did you do NLP and things? I've done no coaching
Yeah.
practices. It's who I am. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're like, yeah, but this is such and such, such and such thing. And I'm like, I have never heard of that before, or read that book. So it's interesting that you say that. And I feel that I'm here in this moment in time, not there's such thing as time, but in this present moment.
Yeah.
And I don't use those words. I feel, or they're not in my sphere of influence for a
Yeah.
reason. And I feel that I'm simple Stacey, keep it
Yeah.
simple Stacey.
Okay.
And not to downplay myself, but
Yeah.
so that what I can bring to the masses can be received by the masses, not just people who are, I'm not saying that. I feel that I don't know these words for a reason. So I
Yeah.
call myself something that everyone understands, but not everyone will feel unless they're tapped into being aware or open to receiving such words and verbiage. So I do start to talk about the metaphysics and things and quantum mechanics, but it's very loosely termed. People that come to me just feel it. I had over Christmas someone message me and say, I don't know how I stumbled upon you, why, but we need to speak together. So to me,
Yeah.
what I like to bring with people is the feeling first. They actually go, what is it? Who is this woman?
Yeah.
And then we kind of go into the flow of that. But metaphysician, I can't even say it. Like, yes, that's me, totally. Yep. But do you see what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I try not to complicate it for people, otherwise they'll think, well, I
Right.
don't believe. I found in my reality, I found that people question, and they're already questioning themselves on lots of other things. So if I make it, if I add in words and they're like, what does that even mean? I try to keep it very simple, just like a pasta dish, because then it's palatable, right? Without
Yeah.
their own conditioning to say, I don't believe in that, or I'm religious, or I'm this. Colette, they can't pigeonhole themselves in my presence on purpose. And I
Yeah.
feel that's done by divinity on purpose. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Completely. And of course, that makes sense. And as you're speaking, what just clicked for me was that I can recognize these last couple of years putting a lot of effort into like the right terminology for what I do and who I am and how I help, and all of these formulas in messaging and marketing and positioning, and I'm a smart girl and I'm a good student, and I feel like I've been trying for 2 fucking years to get it right in terms of what I just said, the marketing, the messaging, the positioning, all of these things, right? The branding, etc. And the reason it hasn't been right is because there are no fucking words. There are just balloons, apparently.
That's amazing. What a celebration realization.
Yeah.
That's, see, and yes, and honestly, Colette, I was the same. And I got so, when I say about a year ago, it kind of all started to click into place. I was exhausted. And I say this all the time. I drink the Kool-Aid too, everyone. Like, I kind of see what's working over here and go, oh, let me try that hat on. Let me try that outfit on. But I kept coming up to the same hurdle. And that's like, I cannot, there are no words for what I do. It's a feeling, it's a knowing. And the moment I stopped fighting that last year, and a knowing of myself and a feeling of myself in my own
Yeah.
personal private life, I was like, okay, here we go. Chills again. This is what it is. Don't put me in a box of words. And I even joke about this on my social media all the time. Call me whatever you want. I genuinely don't care. Like if you call me life coach, transformational success coach, like metaphysician, whatever.
Yeah.
All I know in my whole being is a change is occurring. Get ready. Even if you're not ready, it's happening because you're ready for it. Your soul, your higher self. We've met for a reason. And so that to me, if people need, what are you? Like, then you don't get it. And that's okay. Because that's not a frequency of information. The frequency of information that's right and for each person is a feeling. And it's about them tapping into themselves, going, okay, I recognize myself in that woman, or I like what that woman or that person, that soul is talking about. Like right now, every single person watching and listening to us right now, it's on purpose.
Yeah.
We've trusted that. We don't, we've never spoken to each other like this before. We've been online, but this connection in time, space, reality, in this moment, in this quantum field, like, welcome, get ready.
Yes.
And so hallelujah to you saying it too, because there's so many of us. They're like, what the fuck are we called? It's like, well, what? You're not called anything. You're a being. So be, and let the right people come to you without stress.
Yeah.
And even when you said about sending the bio as well, and even on my own bloody website, I didn't have a website for years. I made 7 figures without a website. So just side note to listening, not a requirement. If you don't think it needs to be a requirement, you call in your reality. I didn't call it in. I was not going to be limited by the fact I didn't have a website or a gazillion testimonials still to this day, FYI. So when we embody that, and we sit in the grand and the righteousness, interesting word that just came through. But knowing that what we're saying is true, you can feel it. Lead with that. You cannot go wrong. It's when we get our head in it and that person's opinion. That's when it gets clunky and relationships get shitty or whatever, because you're going against what you already know. And that's strength and courage, and listening to these podcasts and nodding your head and being like, don't even know these two women, but they're speaking the truth.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
And so thank you for saying the same, because I felt it too. And I was like, what am I called? It's like, there are no words, my friend.
Yeah. I just got to share my experience of this conversation so far. Things occur for me in packets of information, and some of that can be visual, some of it can be audible, or all the ways, right? I just had the experience of like a fire-breathing dragon that had been chained, and like broke the chains, stretched out my wings, breathed fire. And yeah, so that, like, you just activated that for
Chills.
me. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure, Daenerys. But it's like we get to take up as much space, because that's the thing behind that as well. It's as wide as what, let your wings span as wide as you fucking want, and roar and breathe in and take up that space and let it out. Without the resistance and the chains. And so I love you sharing that. It's beautiful.
Well, yeah, it was very felt visceral to, as you just said. And the recognition, and I keep coming back to my own experience because it's very in my face at the moment. And you and I met in a space where, the right words and the right positioning and the right, these kinds of things are important to, up level our body of work and reach and connect with the right people. And so I'm speaking for myself within this. It's, I recognize that I was like building chains instead of the platform to jump off of by wanting to get that language, those words, that label, that brand, that all that shit, which is a beautiful thing. I'm not trying to diminish that, but trying to get that right. I didn't realize each time I did, it was a link in the chain holding me, strapping me down when, like fire breathing dragons don't make sense.
Yeah.
But you feel it when you feel it, right? So again, speaking for myself. So I just want to acknowledge and drive that home, because I imagine the people that are going to watch, that are going to be drawn to, magnetized to this episode, are going to have some similar qualities that we're talking about here.
Because like you said, Colette, I mean, and exactly, we're smart fucking cookies. Do you know what I mean? Like we know, okay, do this equals this and this. In our head, logically, that makes sense. But if we were to really look at ourselves as individuals, that's never really how we operated anyway in the first place. We just fucking did the thing, felt the thing, moved, put it out there, whatever.
Yeah.
There was no kind of, well, don't do this, or if you do this, it could be perceived as this. It was, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm going to do it anyway, though. And like, chips may fall, but I'll get back up. Or I'm nervous, but I feel strong enough to give it a go, right? I'm scared, but fuck this, I'm going to do it. Sorry, I swear a lot. I didn't even know if I can swear on here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So do I. It's all good.
So when I'm passionate, it comes out. And so, when we start going, well, okay, well, actually, I'm learning, and this is obviously also why we invest, like to learn and to say this, let me try it on. And that's what I did. I tried it on, and then I realized there's too many things too many not opinions, but perceived notions that was stifling my creativity and stifling. I just want to show up and share the highs, lows, and imperfections of what actually being honest with yourself and living in alignment without the buzzword, what that truly fucking means. And I want to show it. And sometimes I'm not going to be put together. Sometimes I am going to be post-run. But all these little things that seem little were solid chains in this instance, were solid reasons where, well, if I want to be, which is interesting of who I've worked with, if I want to be hired by such and such over there, they're not going to perceive me as valuable. Well, when one does that, when one looks at the external representation, you're missing the gift of self in your own expression. Your own expression holds the codes, for a better phrase, the frequency of connection, of genuine human connection. When we start adding in, trying to sugarcoat or mold or gilt-edged or add a flower to that, it's confusing to the right souls, to the souls that totally reverberate and have a visceral effect over here. It kind of numbs it, because it's like, well, I felt something, but what I'm seeing and what they're saying, because it could be terminology and verbiage, is this making sense? Isn't resonating with me. It almost was, but actually not. It could be price points, right? I talk about this as well. Whatever your price point is, if you're not being honest with yourself and you think it should be this, you're missing a whole lot of people over here that were tuned in, tapped into that frequency of it. Fuck yes, I want to work with you. Chills, confirmation chills. So anybody watching this that is feeling a bit stuck and stagnant, that stagnancy is lack of true expression. I'll say that again. Stagnancy is lack of true expression. Doing it scared anyway and imperfect, but brilliant. Imperfect glory, as I like to call it. That's your light. That's I'm a lighthouse beam. Like, hi, I'm over here. You can feel at home with me, for example. But if if you do want the wonderful setup and finally allow yourself, because that's who you are. It's like my best friend. Like she would never in a million years come on camera without or anything without being dolled up. Love it. And I say that as a loving phrase. I'm English, like dolled up.
Yeah.
So to me, she would like, that's her being her true self, you know, put together all the time, making sure everything's just right. That is her behind the scenes too. So it's no right or wrong, again, because I don't want people to think, well, I got to show up with no makeup on or whatever it may look like. No, but be true with how you want to express. And that's honestly how I've done it this past year. I said, no. Let's get back to basics, Sargison.
Yeah.
We said this before, this very cool Facebook Live. We were both on Facebook Live back in the day, right? And we were doing it and that's what was causing that huge momentum with both of us on Facebook Live. And it's bringing it back, like you said, to a higher consciousness now through the work that we've done ourselves. But that doesn't negate the fact that we get to do this how we want. That is the quickest way to any manifestation and instant transformation. Do it how you want, because you already know you need nothing else right now. None of us do. We do not need to heal any better anymore to have what we desire in this very moment, or to become that person right fucking now because I said so. Oh, chills.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I am 100% with you. I learned the hard way because, you know, I like the scenic route sometimes, that this sort of ongoing being in the healing and the, you know, that world, it's like a never ending, always the next level that we have to heal if we want to be something or other or have something. And as long as we're perceiving ourselves as imperfect and making the idea of imperfection bad or incomplete in some way, like, then we're never going to get off that hamster wheel of healing. And so it's like to use quantum language, right? It's that collapsing ourselves into being whole, right? The whole point of healing is the recognition of wholeness. And so if we just go straight to I am whole, then like the healing has occurred. So that there was a long period of time, certainly for myself, I've got a condition. It's benign. I'm fine. But it's been part of my life for 15 or so years. So for a lot of this last 15 years of my life, I was on a healing journey. Both doing things, like the nutritions and the supplements and the treatments and all of the fucking things, but then also the inner work, right? The inner healing journey. And so that was a big part of my life for a long time. And so I used to say things specifically like, thinking I was doing myself a favor with the affirmation, I am healing. And then one day I was on my walk, because I love walking in nature. I know you love that too. I know you're running, but we love our outdoors.
Yes.
And I was on my walk, and it just occurred to me to skip straight to the end and speak the damn truth. I am holy, right? Not in that like holier than thou, not in the way that the ego likes to appropriate higher than, better than, worse than, lesser than, not that. But that the truth, the knowing, like the healing, the whole point of the healing is to get to the wholeness, and the wholeness is holiness, HOLY, right? Like that whole thing. And it just like boom. And I was like, oh fuck. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Can I allow this to be true? Even though everything in me was like, here's the fucking truth, bitch. And I was like, what? Okay.
Glitch in the matrix.
Yeah. And at that stage, I no longer had this need for the evidence to show me what I had been affirming and believing and, integrating as the truth. But for a long period of time, I was it was dependent on this no longer being here in order to believe what I was telling myself, to believe, things like I'm worthy, I'm lovable, I'm, all of those stages along the way. I gave up needing the proof or the evidence and just let myself believe in the truth of who I am. So I share that because I suspect you're like like you're probably like, yep, just go straight to the end. Like that experience of being who you say you are is the most potent, powerful thing. So what are your
I
thoughts on that?
not resonate with this anymore. I suffered my entire life with really severe psoriasis and eczema,
Okay.
and I tried everything, and it was debilitating. Confidence down the Swanee. It was just horrific. It was horrendous. I hated it. And I remember, to your point of saying, I am healing, and being the good girl, right? Tick, I know what to do it.
Yep.
And I realized, similarly to you, I thought to myself, hang on a minute. I always say to people, it's just a decision. It's just a choice. Okay. It is a choice to do X, Y, or Z. Like, it's a choice. And so I was like, okay, what am I choosing here? It's in progress. I'm healing. I was like, it's going, not it's gone. It's
Yeah.
disappeared. Right. And so I
Yeah.
said to myself, well, when we're doing all these things and all these affirmations and come by ouring, no disrespect, and
Yeah.
meditating and things, the
Yeah.
whole point of all of this is to come to the awareness. Chills, confirmation chills, to come to the awareness. The awareness has just arrived. Oh, healed now. Right. So that's what we affirm. Now, I'm healed. It's gone. It's disappeared. This is just a lag. This is a lag in the physical. Right. And I truly go to town. Like, men in white coats could come and take me away. I care not. Because that
Yeah.
to me is, I see my 3D as a lag, a time lag, not there's such thing as time. So again,
Right.
you get to, again, why I'm instantaneous, you get to shorten or elongate that.
Yeah.
You're in
Yeah.
control of that, or we are in control of that. And so when I started to say in my own weight loss journey as well, not only am I going to lose weight, I lost 100 pounds in under 6 months, no gym.
Yeah.
I'd eaten so much. Like, everyone was like, how the hell did you do that? Hence why then I started running. But the weight loss, then the psoriasis completely disappeared. I've got like some tiger mark or leopard prints and stuff from tanning and skin and stuff, but it's gone. And so that miracle to others, all the doctors said you're going to have steroid creams. I was like, not acceptable, not believing that. And so when you have that level of determination within self to say, whether it's here or not, I'm choosing a different outfit in this reality, like a different quantum field, where the quantum field is, that's gone. Because I needed that to be, I wanted that to be gone for myself. However, also, I can't do anything about my height, right? Let's go there. This is permanent. So I better get fucking used to it. So at what point am I going to wish that I was like, oh, I wish I was smaller? No, just like the dragon, I'm tall. I'm here to take up space in my own way. And God divine knew that I would be a shrinking violet, so they made me 6'1". It's whatever I make myself is 6'1".
Yeah.
To me, like, here, welcome.
Yeah.
Again, this is understanding the blocks and the barriers of our own delayed manifestations or realities or results. It is based upon us. And so with love, I share that I'm an athlete before I was an athlete. I am thin and slender and toned before I was that. And I moved as the woman that was that. We hear that all the time, but there has to come a point when enough is enough and you go, fuck this shit. I am done going back on my word, on myself, on the integrity of self. No, I'm going to be doolally. I'm just going to give myself a week or a day. Stop thinking everything out there. Like, and I mean this because I know how upsetting it can be because I've been there so many times. But it's like, this is simply showing you where you're at. what you believe is possible, your own worth, what you see in the mirror. If you're looking in the mirror like I was, being like, Sargison, what has happened? You get to be the person in control of that. And not everyone likes that, because it is, you are in control. So once you suck it up within yourself, saying, well, what's like, I deserve, I get to be the person I want to be. I've changed my eye colors. I'm not even joking. Things have, my teeth have never been whiter. Like, all these things are because I am that person, and each moment I am choosing that quantum reality. I'm choosing that quantum reality where I'm adored, that I'm chosen, So what affirmations, it's like, when this post that I saw of yours, Colette, to come onto this podcast, I was like, hell yes, visceral yes. Let's be around these people.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was a choosing in the moment, not all the other questions. Well, blah, like, what if I do this? What if I say that? What are we talking about? Blah, blah. Trust yourself enough to go with the yes.
Yeah.
In all areas, and watch your whole life change. And in an instant, I give you my word, it'll happen in an instant. If you're open to it happening in an instant.
Yeah. And I'm just letting all of that settle in. I love you and I appreciate your presence and your Stacy way of saying and being and sharing this truth.
Thank you.
And so I receive that. And I feel it. I know it. It's resonant. And I have a huge smile on my face, and I've been nodding with everything that you say. Acknowledge, yes, yes, right? I'm gobbling you up in the best way. Because it's like this conversation is a lot of things. One of the things that it is for me, and not to make this about myself, because I know that other people watching this are going to have this like same response and activation as well. So I'm just putting my language to it, but it's your like this brilliant, like the mirror on the wall, right? So thank you for seeing what you see and share and saying what you see and in your unique way, because it's a gift to me, and I know it is to other people watching this as well, and of course your clients and the whole world. And what would you let me see how to ask this question. I suspect that we're whether we know it or not, like it or not, doesn't matter, it's already happening, that we're sort of, rolling into a new era, a new paradigm even. What is your thought or observation of that idea, like this new paradigm that we are just working our way through and into?
So well over a decade ago, when I started my business, I said to people, and I shared on Facebook Live things. I said, not because my background is sales and marketing and human behavior, but honestly, I felt, excuse me, if I'm feeling it, other people are feeling it. Interesting. Other people are feeling it. And it was marketing or selling done with soul, done with like truth, right? And I knew that there's going to be these huge companies, and storytelling will be a big thing. Now, this is before I actually worked and spent time with Gary Vee in person. And we literally sat together going, okay, like him or loathe him, the guy speaks some truth, right? So,
yeah.
And we were talking, and when I was doing live stream and I did an interview with him, and I was saying, it's true, like no one can take your story away from you. It's yours. Whether other people think it's right or wrong, whatever, is actually not important. It's your perspective. And so I was glad that there is a reason. It's a tangent, but there's a reason for it. So I chose to share my story, highs and lows, everything in between. So the power behind what I'm doing is irrefutable. You cannot deny what I do. It's out there. It's truth. There's nothing that is pretense or hidden or made out to look a certain way, because I simply can't do it, Colette. Like, I have like the worst poker face, like resting bitch face galore, when sometimes I'm genuinely happy, but I just can't be asked to put a smile on my face. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, I can't,
Mhm.
my poker face is atrocious. And so when I started this journey, I said, storytelling is going to be important over a decade ago. Now look, some of the greatest brands on the planet have finally got that fucking memo. And
Yeah.
so now the next wave, like you said, this different paradigm, you're absolutely right. And it is a feeling. People will tap into you're talking bullshit. Where my money goes is important now. The more that we are getting constricted externally,
Yeah.
whatever you want to believe in, the more we're getting like put in
Mm-hmm.
to that. Now, I don't want to be too political, but being put into that,
Yep.
the more our soul will go, this is wrong, this isn't right, and that will leak into unintentionally to most who aren't necessarily as aware. No disrespect, but I mean, like, they will start to awaken because they'll
Mm-hmm.
start to feel something doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right that I used to do this and it used to revise. That is going to be everyone's North Star, own inner knowing, and people will either disregard it and feel the repercussions of that, right? For whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And those that really tune in and are aware of who they're sleeping with, who they're in union with, how they treat others, where they put their money, their energy, right? Currency, it's called currency for
Yes.
a reason. What goes back comes back, right? And that's going to be heightened even more because there is a rise in the righteous.
Yeah.
Right will always prevail, and now is the time.
Yeah.
Everyone that thought we were fucking cuckoo is going to go, wow, they don't seem to be suffering. They don't seem to be in lack. They don't seem to be in scarcity. How?
Mm.
And that, I believe, is why you and I are here. Many of us are here to help people come back to themselves, because they're going to need it. They're going to need to know
Yeah.
how to truly live in truth and operate from such a thing. It's very different to know it, but then
Yeah.
deny it. But
Yes.
there's a reason of how the continuation of being in truth, even when it's hard, even when it means you might have to leave a marriage, or indeed go and follow your heart with a partner that you thought was so not at all what you would go with, but you cannot deny your heart. It's right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Mm-hmm.
see? It has every implication in every part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are like, you can't deny it anymore.
Yeah.
Your soul is awake and knows that ain't right. How you're doing
Yeah.
business is wrong or stifling
Mm.
or stagnant because it's not true.
Right.
And I know, Colette, lastly, I will say this, because I know I do speak a million miles an hour when it comes through. It's a complete divine download. But I will say this though, because that's important, because we are paving the way for future fucking generations.
Yeah.
How can we not have that responsibility? And everyone, and many people will say, but Stacey, there's lots of other, arseholes out there, or mean people that have done very well. But that doesn't mean that's the cycle that has to continue.
Yeah.
Many hands of good people, good can be done in the world.
Mm.
So what's your part to play in this then? If everything's going to shit, what are you doing about that then?
Yeah.
And that to me is where we're going.
Yes. I absolutely agree. And I know you have a giant heart, as do I, as do most people who would be tuning into this conversation. And there are the occasions that I consider, like, could I be doing more to, I don't know, alter the trajectory of this various things that are happening in the world? And then I remember, like, my greatest impact, my greatest strength, if you will, is remembering myself. And I certainly have been, in these last couple of years, in addition to trying to get the marketing right, really mastering myself, my knowing of self. And so then when those moments when my ego's like, yeah, but you're not doing enough and da 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 and all that nonsense. And then I remember my greatest impact is being the highest version of myself. Right. And then circling back to what you said and just like letting that be enough and taking my attention off of all of these activities to try to make something happen, whether that's in my business or in dating or in, with my fitness. Like, take the actions, yes, but stand in, come from the highest truth of myself, or otherwise those actions aren't going to have the kind of impact that I want them to have. And it's just going to be a bunch of busy work, so to speak.
Yeah.
So remembering for me that, like, yes, it's okay to be spending a lot of time on myself, right? This inner work, because sometimes I'm like, bitch, you got to get out there. You got to go, like, get dressed, go to networking, go on the dates or whatever. And I'm like, I'm still like, I'm not waiting for like the timer to go off to say, all right, you're fully cooked now. You can go enjoy life. It's not that. But it is like, like right now, this self-mastery thing of, mastering, not letting my ego or my conditioning sort of dictate my activities and my actions, and just restoring moment to moment, restoring myself to the truth, and letting that be enough, and trusting that the actions, when they're inspired from the highest version of me, will just be like, well, yeah, of course. Like, kind of like how we showed up here. Well, yeah, of course we're going to have a conversation.
Yep.
We didn't try to make this happen.
No way. Do you know why? And this is for anybody else as well. A perspective maybe to realize that when we do work on ourselves, why it is so important. Because maybe somebody needs to hear this again. It's because our inward is the reflection of the outward. So when we're looking at what can we do more in the world, when we do work on ourselves and explore work, I don't really like that, but like more explore ourselves and be honest with ourselves. And if you need to be in your house for a week, there are, like, I've done that so many times.
Yep.
And like a cocoon, right? A metamorphosis, for a better phrase, like that sludge. You're just like, oh, I'm feeling way too vulnerable to even go out and see another person. But when you really think to yourself and know, living in truth isn't all, as we know, unicorns and rainbows, but it's also because the moment that you do have connection with someone in your authenticity, sometimes I'm not all like buzzy and like the world like out there, and like sometimes I'm having my human experience too. But never forget, because you're doing this, you are a wonderful human being that has, one of my favorite films is Pay It Forward. Okay, if you've not watched it, I definitely invite you to watch it. I learned this since I could barely walk, and that's how your smile has the pot. And I used it toxically as I grew up, slightly as a people pleaser, recovering.
Yep.
So, but a smile has the ability, I took it way too far. A smile has the ability to change another person's life. And so what I mean by that is not go around with a smile on your face all the time, but what I mean is when you are comfortable with self, you won't have road rage as much. You won't think that person's cutting you off is an absolute dickhead. You don't know. They could be going to a hospital to meet their dying relative. Give them a break. But you won't give them a break if you're so heightened by frustration about your own circumstances. You don't even have the capacity, no judgment. We don't have the capacity to even think of another person. So the more that we do go inwards and understand ourselves, we have therefore the bandwidth, we release the bandwidth and the capacity to be a better human being, which is all it takes. This love is all it takes, is when we deal with our own stuff going, yeah, I'm pissed off. Why are you pissed off? You're usually pissed off because you're doing something you do or don't want to do. You said yes when you want to say no, and you said no when you want to say yes. Because if you say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, I feel like the labyrinth sequence. If she chose left, if you've never seen that film, you won't know what I'm referencing to now. Is it the left door or right door? But if you're true to yourself, whatever is going on out here, you're like, I'm being a good human being. And that's all any of us can do, right? Good,
Mm-hmm.
loving, like treat people with respect. And if people are doing something, like, obviously don't turn a blind eye. Do what you can as a human being. We've all got each other's backs. But if you don't even have your own back, if you're not being truthful to yourself, this whole concept will be like, yeah, it's all right for you to say. It will be excuses,
Yeah.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's important to do the work of self, because it's actually going to have an impact on other people. And why? Because your external world reflects your internal world. You leave that door today for your coffee, for your walk, and actually just be like, I'm okay. Maybe all you need, oh, I've been here. I'm safe. I'm okay. It's all happening for me. That man, I don't have to be on an app. Fuck the apps. He's just going to stumble upon me at the shop whilst I'm doing whatever it is I want. True story happened. True story. Like, I'm not the apps are bad, but I will not subject myself to thinking the only way I can find love is if I swipe left or right. Will not buy into that narrative. My narrative is I go along my merry way and he's just going to appear. And I will not listen to anything else that tells me that cannot be a reality.
Yeah.
Right? That is you choosing, like a
Mm-hmm.
movie. What scene do you want? Oh, chills, confirmation chills. What body? What love? What activities? What expressions? What wonderful family. You say to yourself, my family are getting on better than ever. And that's all you say to yourself. Your inner world, that's your truth. That's what I believe in. My family are done with the drama. Done with the drama. One of the best Christmases ever. And I don't say that lightly. And I wasn't
Yeah.
even there. Go figure. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I do.
Like
Yeah.
this, when we realize it's
Yeah.
fun and it's play and the heaviness. God, yeah, there's so much heaviness.
Mm-hmm.
But let us be the radiators, right? And if we
Mm-hmm.
all come together
Mm-hmm.
and we're all just going, do you know
Yeah.
what? I'm here if someone needs me because I've got the
Yeah.
capacity to,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
not the validation because there's a difference, as we
Yeah.
both know. So that's that. Yeah, that's what I would say on that, and
Yeah.
that's why it is important. It's not do as much work as you want, but just be mindful that you don't have to do the work to receive what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said,
Same.
you don't have to heal stuff.
Yes. To be healed.
Yes, that's not.
I,
So you get to be with someone that wants to do it with you too. Where's
right.
that narrative that you get to call into your life? You're both
Mm.
doing the work, but you both could do the work together too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why the fuck
I'm
not?
with you. I one of the things that I got a visual, a packet of information as you were speaking, and the like going for the walk and just do whatever inner work or work on ourselves or being with ourselves, loving ourselves, appreciating ourselves, taking care of ourselves, all of these things, right? That the visual that I got was like as we do I saw like the light is expanding, right? Like we are deliberately showing up for the light, for the love. I am. And that light will grow and grow and grow and expand. And because at the level of consciousness or in the quantum field, we are all one. The
Yeah,
more light that I am cultivating with my choices and where I place my attention and what I, as a result, then the actions that I take, the more that I'm in that space, the brighter my light gets, the more love is radiating and emanating within the field of consciousness. So the people on the other side of the planet who might be in a very dark phase or place or experience, by being this light, by cultivating this light, the field, the consciousness that is within them, that they are within as well, is somehow, some way impacted.
this is scientifically proven for anybody else going, yeah, okay, that sounds great, right? And this was me. This is why I'm saying it for anybody else.
Okay.
This was genuinely me. I was like, that sounds great in principle. It has been scientifically proven that when Princess Diana died, the hertz of the planet, the frequency of the planet in particular spots reduced to such an extent that the whole world felt that sadness. And you can, this is scientifically proven.
Yeah.
So equally, and they talk about this a lot, they love to tell us, like when 9/11 happened and all these things, the whole planet felt the energetic downward spiral. So that lower echelon frequency, that lower frequency. So it makes sense that the opposite can happen too. We just don't hear
Right.
about that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so one of the days that it does happen around the world and it is quantified is when it's New Year's Eve, which is the irony of this, in between Christmas and New Year, where the happiness levels, the frequency, the high frequency in certain places is when, you know, New Year's Eve happens. And so when we look at things, that we do all play a part, and every single person watching this at some place within their soul believes in this, knows this to be true. So that's what I say about taking responsibility. We are all metaphysicians. Like, I'm not special. Well, I am.
Yeah.
I am. And I am, like, but you know, but when we own it, we are all one. You am I and I am you. We're simply having a different experience through our own desires, which, where are they from? Consciousness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Consciousness expressing itself. We are two
Yes.
versions of the same thing expressing itself. Chills. Oh my God. Can we just... So it makes sense that the more people that listen to this, and you feel even in this podcast itself, and just go, yeah, do you know what? In this moment, I'm going to choose to envision that light, exactly like Colette said. And you know what? I'm going to activate myself. So if anybody else is like the same as me, I'll call you in and watch the smiles that you get from random strangers, from babies, from animals, because they already feel it anyway. But
I know.
Strangers, watch your own Instagram or your social media or your business. This is why I'm instantaneously, all of a sudden elevate exponentially without explanation. But you'll know. You're vibing on a different frequency of choice. I'm choosing this. God knows, divine knows, whatever word knows that that's the challenge, but you're here for a reason for this challenge. You chose this challenge. Challenge accepted. I'll wake up really early and do a podcast with an incredible soul. Do you know, like, yes, I'm yes. That is your response. And as long as you do that, and that yes is sometimes, myself needs a hug today and nothing but Netflix and a fucking Uber Eats. And I'm going to do it judgment free. And if I need a bottle of wine with it, so be it. I'm going to let myself off the hook. You know, could be an inner child. Just fucking skip down the road. I don't know what you need to do, what you get to do. But the more you do that, the more you will not have to, this is why I'm instantaneous, you will not have to switch it on. You won't have to meditate to get that awareness. Truly, it's an instant thing. What do I feel? Tapping into it. Right, what's the choice here? Right, I need to connect with the earth. I'm really feeling a bit like, whoa. Because you'll be so aware of your own frequency, because it's a constant, because it's truth.
Right.
You know, going there, it's like, because you keep denying it. It's okay. Meditation and things, that I still have my moments, don't get me wrong. But it's like, okay, what am I doing? I just want some peace and quiet. Interesting. What are you thinking about a lot then? Anyway, so that's my hint. The more that you feel you need to stop is because you're going down a road that isn't in alignment. A road, not all roads. Just there's something somewhere in your life you're holding back from, or not acknowledging, or suppressing. That's why it feels really like walking through treacle. Right?
Yeah.
And whether your wings are chained, or it feels like I have my images, angel wings, but they're covered in tar, like just been dipped in tar, like someone's holding my shoulders down, you know, and kind of just. And so that was kind of the image that I used to have. And then I just realized that I shook them, the tar came off, and I'm just like, okay, no fucking stopping me now. But then as I in evolution, I've also like Phoenix rising. So, so birds, interesting.
Yeah.
Flying
yeah.
creatures.
I mean, I have a phoenix tattooed on me.
I love that. That's obviously my sign of today. I love that.
Yeah.
So Colette, I'm really aware, and this is very much me. I do speak at And I do honor you for holding the space for me to do that, because it's not always easy. It's like quite full on. So thank you for giving me the space and providing the space for me to really share whatever is coming through the way that it naturally comes through without interruption. I really honor that and have noted that. So thank you.
Yeah, girl, that's why we're here. Yes. I came up with a couple of questions just to kind of guide the conversation, to see, because I mean, fuck, we could talk for hours on
I
end. I have
know.
no doubt, like sleepover style, like just getting, you know what I mean, just getting crazy with it. But one of the questions that I had written down that I'm kind of smiling over here, going, oh, I didn't even need to ask that because it's already happening. One of the questions that I wrote down is, what kind of magic do you want to make with this conversation today? And so like, and yes, I use the word magic. Like, what do you want to conjure? What do you want to create? What do you want to serve up, as a result of this conversation? But I don't even have to ask because it's already happening.
Like, just everyone enjoy, just revel
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
And look, I love the word magic. I do. I love the intentionality as well of what we do. Magic sometimes can feel a bit like, oh, it's just, happen.
Yeah.
And I love to just remind myself that it is everything that we're all doing is very intentional if we decide it to be so. And when we do it from intentionality, the miracles, the magic thereafter, the how, some people call it the how, is not our concern. And really,
Yeah.
really hear me, because I'm listening to myself as I say, I'm saying this to myself today as well as I start my day. The how cannot even be orchestrated in our mind, because the bridge of incidences, so to speak, with Neville Goddard, the bridge of instances that happen could be so far removed. Like just seeing your post and having this completely illuminating conversation for my soul, if nothing else as well, is like, yes, that I couldn't have even conjured that up, but it's the same as walking into your the soul partner to the business, yes, that would change your life forever in a way that you cannot even fathom. So let yourself off the how is this all going to work out, and go straight, like we said earlier in this conversation, it is already done. The healing, no, healed. Where I'm worthy, yes, you are. My business is a success because I choose it to be so.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's done. My soul clients, listening, right? Watching.
Mm-hmm.
The how I've stumbled upon them, what the fucking algorithm has done is not important. Everything I've done has defied logic to the outside, but very intentional within myself.
Mm-hmm.
So use that as a little snippet for whatever you want in your life. Instantaneous transformation can happen in a moment through your choice, your say so. And then watch everything else unravel and come to you and attract to you, because you're in vibration with it happening. It is done. It is done. That's the whole point. It is done. As above, so below. So when we start to piece together what all these sayings mean, then we go, fuck yeah, it's as easy as that. Yeah, it is. Have fun with it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. And yes. And I like that you brought up, yes, and maybe you didn't say it this way, but this is how I interpreted. Like sometimes if we're using words like magic or, you know what I mean, we're almost like making too light of the nature of reality.
Yes,
right?
chill.
So, but if we're playing, like if we're innocent children who already knew all this before we fucked them, before we were fucked by all of the intelligence and intellect and logic and reason, and while those are wonderful, useful things at times, when they override our in like our inherent intelligence, that playful, innocent knowing that we were all born with, right? So I use the word magic to sort of honor that childlike, not childish, right? Not flippant, but truly to honor the childlike innocence and knowing that happens in this, in in this in the how am I saying this? In reality, like it's the simple way that the universe works. And so if we can allow ourselves to be more playful, then, as you said, instant manifestations, things align that we could never have with all of our intelligence and effort and logic and life experiences and all of the things that we value as the means to the outcomes that we are so proud of, right?
Yeah.
Um, None of that could have ever orchestrated some of these magnificent experiences that we have. And so I don't use the word magic as this like airy fairy flippant type, to indicate that in no way. I use magic synonymous with like quantum mechanics. So
I love it because my inner child, as you're speaking, I'm the same. I can receive it in numerous ways simultaneously. And with me, I have my inner child like literally nodding along with you, being like, yeah, yeah. Because like the adults say make believe. Oh, she's just playing make believe. Listen to the words. They are telling the truth.
I
Make
know.
believe, like making it right, like making it real. But what they see, and again, that's science. So I had an invisible friend, but I blocked it out for so long until I did some therapy on that. So healing does have its purpose, like have its things that I can
Yeah.
activate a lot of gifts for yourself. But I had an invisible friend, but it wasn't like it was real as real as real. So
Yeah.
why am I saying that? So my inner child, when you're saying magic, is like yes, yes, and when you mixed with the way that you are proudly talking about quantum mechanics has brought together just maybe some feedback from my soul to yours. It's brought the two together for me. The way that you've just explained why you say it has brought my inner child and my current self like together, and my higher self being like yes, 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 innocence. And I'm, we're singing from the same hymn sheet, have fun with it. That's why when you have your visions, I've always said, always, they're not visions, they're premonitions, if you allow them to be. They're not some whimsical thing over there. They're a snippet into your future. You've literally that's deja vu, conscious deja vu. Oh, never said it like that before.
Love that.
Like
Yeah.
that man, that person, that money, that business, that elevation, that figure, done.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
job every day, our job is to ring true, have faith. The how is not my concern. I just know I am that person right now. This outward thing can catch up.
Yeah.
So thank you for explaining, not that you need to, but thank you for expressing and explaining how you see the word, because I know it's because other people that have said it has come across as whimsical and wishy-washy. And I'm like, hang on a minute, my truth frequency is like, I don't think you're having much fun in your life. No judgment, but I can feel the truth of it. That's my gift. That's one of my gifts. When you said, I was like, yes, it's like fantasia. Like that came to my mind. You said mirror, mirror. I used to love that. So the fact you said that gave me gooses. It is that childlike. Let's get back to that. The heaviness of adulting is a construct. And so thank you for sprinkling your magic, and I will never ever see the word I will see it in a completely different way. I can't see it in the same way now. So thank you.
Yeah.
You've really
Yeah, girl.
made my inner child go, yeah, we're having
Yeah.
magic, Stace. We're having magic.
Well, thank you for that acknowledgement. And, it's interesting because I wrote a book called Get Your Magic Back, subtitled Emotional Mastery for Empaths. I had a whole body of work built around, being an empath and really, utilizing this gift or this sensitivity that we have in a powerful way versus what often happens is the retraction, the retreat, the victim energy around that. So I had a whole body of work around that, and Get Your Magic Back was the book that I wrote. And in that book, I went through and defined rather the word magic. and where it came from, the etymology, all of these things, right? The early English and the early this and the that, and magic actually means, historically speaking, before we made it whimsical, which nothing wrong with that, before we made it like childish,
Yeah.
right? Magic was actually used to describe our power. And so earlier you were talking about alchemy and being an alchemist and that transformational. Well, this is all the same thing, right? Like our magic, our power, our ability to transform, transmute, transcend these physical, forms, these apparent physical forms, by tuning in, right? We talk about alignment, we talk about authenticity, we talk about the truth. And so going straight to that, tapping into that power, is our magic from where I sit. And so I offer that in this conversation because I would love for you, I just tossed you the ball. I would love for you to take it and play with it and see what comes out. And then we'll wrap it up. I know that we're well over an hour, so.
Oh, everyone, get your popcorn. But yeah, so when you said about magic as well, and being raised in the UK, being raised in England, and witches and all of that came into my mind.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying this is because all of this connection is stirring in my timeline. I can feel it, like it's stirring in my soul. Do you know what? And I had this epiphany almost a second ago. You know why, as an empath, I'm an empath too. All my life was pretty much ridiculed. Stop being so sensitive. Grow a thicker
Yep.
skin. Why do you take?
Yep.
Why do you have to take everything so seriously? And all these
Yep.
things. Do you know what? In like the historical aspect you just shared with me is and what I've said on this conversation. Every single person watching this is an alchemist, because they do have that sense of perspective that not everyone has. Not everyone's an empath. We have a unique gift, which in history has shifted people when they come into our homes, when we can see what they're doing, we can see the truth. An empath, we can see what they're doing is right, wrong, whatever. We have this sense. And what used to be glorified, what used to be, people used to come to us for help, was then completely just eradicated. Like, no, that's actually bad. Well, why do you think people think it's bad? People that are trying to shaft us, people that are trying to pull out the wool over our eyes. And so when we look at it from that perspective, where it's actually a feared gift, hence why people say stop being so sensitive, i.e. stop calling me out, i.e. stop showing me parts of myself that I don't actually like about myself because you're reacting, right? And that's also full circle moment for me, not to bring it about me, but full circle, which is why the magic really shifted in my life last year, was when I loved somebody so much, but still walked away because of what I saw. My empathy was like, right? Why am I bringing this up again? Well, because I was constantly feared, ridiculed, because of what I was seeing was not congruent, right? And so what happens in our presence, it's like I'm a bit like Marmite or Vegemite here in Australia, a bit chalk and cheese. You either like me or loathe me. There's no middle ground, right? Because it's a solid frequency, right? And
Yeah.
so anybody else is watching this and feeling that, you're like, we're here. Colette and I are here. We exist. It's okay, but realize that the rising of the next paradigm to bring this, close it out, we are being called forth because there's enough smoke and mirrors. And it's like we're drowning in, most of society are drowning, and they don't know up, down, left, right. Right. And we're now here to show them their own true north. So they'll never again feel like a compass doing this because they don't know who, what to believe in, how to behave. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all a bit like this, discombobulated. And we're here to resume calm of self, I believe. Anyway.
I agree. I believe you and I and others like us are sort of we have this ability to tune into energy, emotions, the truth, right? We feel when something is the truth versus when it's not the truth.
Mhm.
And the work that you do and the work that I do, like being that solid mirror, solid in as much as we're not wavering. We're not trying to please our clients, right? We're not yes men or women, so to speak.
Yep.
We're solid in as much as we know who we are and what the truth feels like. We've done enough to know what it feels like. We're able to be with what comes up and hold that loving but pure, like pure mirror, like you can look and see, and I, that whole thing. And so I believe that we are, this ability that we have, this gift that we have, this courage that we have to be ourselves in this world, given it doesn't look normal a lot of times, right? But we still have the faith and trust and courage in ourselves. That this is exactly what those in power and with influence and those that are awakening but don't necessarily know how to navigate a new paradigm, because the old paradigm was very much built on and sustained by, as you said, the wool being pulled down over our eyes and this external validation and the physical world cannot be relied on because it is always changing. The inner self, the truth, the knowing, the consciousness within us is ever present, like imperturbable. In other words, it's just always the true north. And so you and I have this ability that we've refined and honed and practiced, so to speak, of being able to guide others to that for themselves so that they can make those aligned, authentic choices and utilize their platforms to make the impact.
Yes.
So I just wanted to share. I see you. I recognize what you're doing. We're we're playing in the same sandbox, so to speak. And
Thank God.
and yeah, right. And yeah, and so for anybody else out there who is watching this that is like, I need to connect with my people. I know that's been me for a while. Like I'm like, all right, my people now at this level of understanding, willing to have this conversation, and teach me things I don't know yet. Like that's the community that I am like ready for. So the invitation to anyone watching is like, come be a part of this community.
Oh,
Come play in this sandbox
oh
with
my
us.
God. Yes. It's just incredible. And thank you. And know everybody, there are people out there that have huge amounts of influence as well beyond our wildest comprehension, even at our levels, that they are waking up. And that is what I'm seeing. So when I say you're not alone, there are all walks of life that are feeling this, and know that there are people with huge influence as well as you and I, but others that are seeking these conversations because they know that it's right and that they are willing to shift their own paradigms, even if they don't know what it looks like, because they have, like you said, had a different type over here. They are feeling it. And so how wonderful to know there are big corporations, big people, influential people, biggest on the planet, arguably, that are also feeling this shift to influence with integrity. And I could not be prouder to help those people too. So know that there are good people out there with good intentions. So don't get lost in the minutiae. My point ending, don't get lost in the minutiae of all the other stuff that we are hearing about. There is a lot of good happening in the world and a lot of people that are scared but willing to go there. So there is hope. So don't keep that vibration of love and hope there and faith. So that's all I wanted to say on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that needed to be said. So thank you for rounding us out with that acknowledgement and awareness. And you very much are, you've got your finger on that pulse. So we do need to hear that and be reminded of that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Pleasure.
All right. So anything I haven't asked or anything we haven't touched on, any final parting words or transmission that you might like to offer?
Oh my goodness. Like you said, I mean, we could literally have a full feature film here. I would say, lovingly so, and this is a gift from my mum. When I was raised, she doesn't like to swear, so she says JFDI, which is just fucking do it. And I've heard that my entire life. And so if there's anybody listening that is, doing it, even though you do it scared, do it anyway. I understand that. But this next level, that there's the reason that people are in my world or stumble upon me is there's something percolating. Now that percolation within your soul is probably now a rolling boil. And there's a couple of things that you might be thinking, if I do that, this, and this will happen. And that's not necessarily going to be a good thing. That's where our human mind goes. Know that truly you are meant to do that thing, to try it, to go forth, because it is an embodiment of the next level, next version of yourself, which is aching and required to be brought forth. So have the courage within your soul to know that even though you're scared, you've done hard things before, this isn't the last thing that you're going to do that's hard, and it hasn't been the first thing. Know that this is the making of you, but also this is the impact of your children's children, of your own family members right now, your friends. It's not just about you. And sometimes we can feel so scared because we're worried about ourselves, rather than a slight different viewpoint, vantage point would be, if you don't do this thing, maybe your daughter won't go for that business that she wants to try herself. Like, there is a ripple effect in everything. There is a what's the word? An outcome.
Consequence.
Thank you. A consequence to every single thing we do. So the more you hold back on what your heart kind of wants to give a go at, it's actually impacting somebody else in a positive but also a negative way. So when we sometimes think about that, I don't want to scaremonger, but that's helped me so many times get out of my own fucking way. And this is what I practice and preach, to be like, it's not just about you, Stacey. Okay, it's not how you look isn't just about you today. It's what you want to say, how you want to say it, that's going to impact someone's life. So remember that in those moments of holy fucking shitballs, and realize it's not just about me. And sometimes that can get you out of your head. I feel there's somebody in their head. Get back into this, your heart. Like, it's bigger than both of us, all of us put together. It's literally the frequency of the world, without sounding like Miss America.
Yeah.
And that's what felt cool to come through as a final word. So JFDI it, babe. Just do it. Just fucking do it.
Yeah. That's going to be my last of many takeaways from this conversation. Is it's not just about you or me, right?
Which
it's so much bigger.
every empath, right? It's the language of every empath. So it's amazing. So thank you, and what a glorious honor to be amongst you and your collective. So yeah, thank you. I lovingly receive this opportunity, and I don't say that lightly, truly.
Oh, I get that. Well, thank you for spending your time here, and I can't wait for round 2, because I am certain we're going to have more to talk about in the new year.
Hell yes, people can comment, ask away. I'm here for it. I'm here for it all, for sure.
Yeah, love that. Cool. Where can people find you? We'll put all this in the show notes, of course, but if you just want to call it out.
Of course, Instagram is the place so far for me. So STACEY SARGISON, just find me there, or website, staceysargison.com. You can apply there and read, like, one-page wonder. I don't do things complicated. So yeah, check me out on those two places to begin with.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you.
Again, I love you.
Love you.
Even though I just met you.
I know.
I love you.
Fangirling in our first hour. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.